We've come here today, adults and children, representatives of our communities and our educational institutions. We come as friends. Humbly we come as loyal citizens and constituents of this great state, of the greatest country on the face of this earth, a country built on freedom and rich in diversity, a freedom that breeds diversity and diversity that ensures that freedom. We stand in awe of this country, of the modern day miracle that's the United States of America. Clearly, God shed his grace on thee. But today we come not out of awe, but out of fear and frustration. We come as huddled masses, afraid that we will no longer be able to breathe free. We come frustrated that despite our best efforts, our voices have not yet been heard. For generations, centuries, our community has adhered to an educational system that has succeeded in breeding scholarly, righteous, productive members of society, with emphasis on character development, values, and respect. It has long been known, that the key to our identity is our educational system. Our yeshivas are not something that we do. It defines who we are. I say this in front of the children and adults alike. Our education to us is more than a way to provide students with skills to make money. Education is bigger than that. It creates a person. It nurtures him. It empowers him. It instills value, faith, and a soul. Education is a value unto itself. To us, education is sacred. Literally, a religious imperative, both in terms of what we do teach, as well as in terms of what we do not. Which subjects are emphasized, which ones are not. Which are given more time and which less. All of these are deliberate and measured decisions that comprise a unique and distinctively successful method of education. A method that has always relied on pure, unadulterated, untainted transmission of Torah wisdom from teacher to student and from parent to child. Many heroes from among our people have given their lives to preserve our way of life, our religion, our identity, and all of that. Our way of life, our religion, and our identity is entirely a result of our traditional education. Sometimes our religion requires us to give up some material pleasures for the sake of spiritual ones. But not so when it comes to our schools. Our students accomplish this worldly achievement as well as spiritual growth. Our community is successful, materially and spiritually. We raise children that are wise, happy, productive, and proud, regardless of how they choose to make a living, which has nothing to do with it. None of our schools require metal detectors, and not a single one of our neighborhoods is unsafe to walk at night. Our children know what is important in life, and they know. And I say in front of them, children, whether you become a CEO of a big company or you work in a mailroom, your parents will be proud of you, not because of how you make a living, but because of what you are. How much you have imbibed the Torah and the values that you learned in your yeshiva. We hear now that lawmakers are considering passing and enforcing legislation that would remove our ability to choose the values in education that's best for our children. To remove that decision from the parents and hand it over to government. We would be required to disrupt our children's education against both our best judgment as parents as well as our religious beliefs. With all respect due to this wonderful and incredible country and state, we implore you, do not pass this legislation. Such legislation would not only violate our religious principles, it would irrevocably degrade the spiritual well-being of our children. Our children are not broken. Please don't try to fix them. The state education department ought to be proud of our community, of the behavior of their children and of their upbringing. Look at them here. Dozens of teenagers, hundreds of children. Look at their behavior. Tell me, have you seen an assembly like this of adolescents, of so many of them, so well behaved? We humbly remind our lawmakers, deeply embedded in this country's values are the rights of religious communities and their autonomy. So please, allow us to exemplify both the freedom and diversity that this country is so known for. We humbly implore you, do not pass this law. It does not serve our children, our community, or your society well. At the same time, we must declare that should misfortune occur, should faulty judgments carry the day and laws be passed that would penalize us for practicing our religion, rest assured, and I say this with all due respect, we will not yield 1 inch of our religion. Should we be forced to choose between our responsibility to our children and the good graces of the state, rest assured, our children come first. The curriculum changes that are being suggested currently on the table are unacceptable and incompatible with our faith. Our faith is not negotiable, be it all at once or little by little. The principles at issue are the following. Number 1, nobody has a right to determine the best education for their children, save the parents. Nobody has a right to decide what pathway their children will take, except for the parents. And whether you suggest curriculums that are incompatible with our faith or not, the decision as to how our children will grow up, with what values, with what knowledge, will remain with the parents in our community. And they will never be handed over to governments no matter what. Second, I have to tell you a secret. Even if we wanted to change our curriculum, it's not our decision to make. We don't own our religion. We are custodians of it. The Torah was given to us. We don't own it. We can't give it away. We can't compromise it. We can't invest on its behalf. The Torah belongs to God, and He gave it to us to protect it, to watch it, to give it over to the next generation, untouched, unsullied, in its whole and pure fashion. Even if we wanted to, and we don't, there's no reason we should compromise our religion. It is not within our power to do so. So please stop asking that of us. We don't even own that decision. As it says in the book of Koheles, Ecclesiastes, there's no righteous man in the world that's totally righteous. Every righteous man sins as well. Nobody, although we try, nobody is going to end up a perfect diamond. But we do have an obligation to protect a perfect diamond. And whether we are perfect or imperfect, our Torah and our religion is perfect. Torah is Hashem Tamima. And we will not allow that Torah to be touched by anybody. That's our job. And we will never give it up. This is not the first time this happens. Over 100 years ago, the illustrious, legendary yeshiva of Volozhin closed. There was no yeshiva like it on earth, arguably. The great luminaries of the time were trained there, but the government insisted that they implement a curriculum of secular studies that were not acceptable to the great rabbis that ran the school. And they said, better to close the school than to change our educational system. The educational system will be handed to our children, either by us or by others. but it will not be changed. The chain of tradition of Torah that started from Mount Sinai, that passed from generation to generation, will not stop and will not be changed here in Albany or anywhere else in the world. I want our children to hear this loud and clear. We will not shirk our responsibility to you. We will not give you less than 100% of our religion, either because of promise of reward nor under threat of punishment. But please, we implore the government here, don't let it come to that. We love this state and we love this beautiful and benevolent country. But on behalf of God and country, for God and country, in that order, we beg you please, let us choose our way of life. Let us choose our lifestyle. Let us live the lifestyle that our ancestors did, that we want to. America is the land of the free and the home of the brave. And when it comes to our religion, and I say this in all humility, we will be the brave. And no matter what, we will remain free, either in New York or elsewhere, but we will remain free. Our community prays regularly for the peace and success of this wonderful country. But this country's success depends on the freedom of its citizens. All we ask is for the freedom to pursue our way of life unencumbered and to bring up our children the way their parents see fit. May it be the will of the Almighty God that we be able to continue to live peacefully and practice our religion without compromises, as we have done thus far. And may the country's lawmakers be granted the wisdom by God to make the right decision this time and every time they need to make decisions. And may God continue forever to shed His grace on this great country from sea to shining sea. Amen.
Jetzt beten beteiligte Neukische Besramung. Wir singen zusammen, beten wir landen, dem Nalem. Der Haare bnu Hashem Elokeinu.
Man weet, Hashem das Kunem, man geht jetzt, Joseke kommen nach Regen, aber sich ziehen, man geht ziehen, machen den March beim Education Building, man geht marschieren, wir folgen, dort gehen die Kinder sich